Hey guys, I heard a quote that really resonated with me recently. It goes, "You once wanted the life you have now. If you don't like what you have now, you probably won't like the one you want but don't have." I think it really resonated with me because I had the impression um, throughout a lot of my life that as soon as I reached a certain milestone, I would be happy. I would, all my insecurities would go away. I'd be happy. I wouldn't be stressed. I'd have so much time. But milestone after milestone, I slowly realized that while certain things in my life did improve, a lot of the internal emotions that I had kind of stayed with me. I assumed that a lot of my insecurities, my anxieties would go away as I keep hitting these new milestones. Um, and while I did gain some amount of security, I don't think all of my anxiety went away. They kind of stayed with me through my journey. And I'm learning that the external milestones aren't going to be what solves my internal problems. It's going to be internal work and like understanding my emotions that solves it. And I made a pretty cool visual that helps me describe and visualize like how my emotions kind of stay with me throughout different milestones in life. And I hope this helps other people too. So here is a little picture of me back in high school with kind of a lot of my emotions. I held with me some anxiety, a lot of anxiety. I wasn't very confident. I was insecure. I was stressed a lot of the time, and I was very much unhappy. And here are different milestones that many of which I have not done yet. I haven't. I don't have enough for a down payment for a house yet, and I haven't paid off a house yet. But here are different milestones that I kind of told myself, and I assumed at some points, I assumed after I graduated college, but especially after I had a decent paying job, that I would no longer be anxious. I would be sitting here happy, no stress. I'd have so much time, so much energy. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of people make, that they kind of assume that all their internal problems would go away with these milestones. But I found out, in fact, that as I climbed these different metrics, my emotions kind of stayed with me. I was still anxious. I was still insecure. My stress followed me. Like, I was still stressed about trying to climb up this ladder, and I was still kind of unhappy. But I was so confused. Wasn't everything supposed to work out when I reached these different milestones? I actually even found out that me frantically running up this ladder, trying to graduate college, trying to work really hard, trying to save up a bunch of money. In fact, I was even more tired. I was more stressed. I had less time. How could I have time if I was working harder? Um, and I realized that these external milestones, I think while they're important, I think, for example, definitely if you're stressed about having enough money for food, water, rent, or bills, like I do think getting a job or getting enough money to pay for these things, I think they'll definitely change how stressed you are on your day to day. But I think for the most part, after those bills are paid for, I think saving more money isn't going to change all of your insecurities and your stress. I think some of it will be affected, but I don't think all of it. I think another example is like getting a boyfriend or girlfriend. I think a lot of people assume, and understandably so, that some of their insecurities, they'd find some securement in a relationship. They'd be happier. They'd be less stressed because you can share these stresses and, you know, you just be happier with another significant other. But that isn't always the case. There are many people with a significant other that are still a little insecure. They're still stressed and unhappy. And likewise, in the job scenario, there are some people with great jobs, that are still stressed, unhappy, um, and that kind of our emotional stuff kind of follows us with us wherever we go. To solve these problems, it's not to look always for external things, but to sometimes work on internal things. I think by working on appreciation, by doing more internal work, the appreciation isn't going to solve some problems like not having enough money or not having enough, like a roof over your head. That isn't going to change all of that. But I think after a certain point, I think it's a little unwise to, like I said, assume that all of your problems will go away with just external things. At some point, internal work like appreciation and understanding your emotions, working on your emotions, these are the things that are going to make you enjoy your journey wherever you are. It can help you enjoy being in college, working your first job, even though you're not getting paid the best, working, maybe even if you stay at the job, that's totally fine. If you just appreciate that, like, hey, this is what I need to do to help support my family. If you're able to get a fancier job, even if it's stressful, that stress and fatigue may follow you a little bit. And you can also understand that, like, hey, this is like a normal emotion. Like, I'm going to be tired sometimes. But I can also appreciate everything I have, everything I've worked toward. I can appreciate my journey. I can help people along the way. And I can find a good pace to slowly work on getting to the next step without frantically running toward the next step or assuming that by getting the next step, I'd instantly be happy. In summary, I used to think I would be naturally happy after hitting certain milestones, but I think in reality, being happy takes work, a lot of internal work. I think the things that actually have contributed to me being happy is living a balanced life, generally eating healthy, sleeping better, building connections, understanding why I find joy in certain things, understanding what I value, understanding my emotions, and building a life aligned with my values. I think these are the things that have helped me become a happier person. And I think it'd be a shame if anyone thought similarly to how I did, that happiness only comes with a certain amount of success. You can be happy now, wherever you are. You just gotta find it from within. Um, and it does take a lot of work, but I hope other people can find it too.